Uh, you know, I teach physical education, so gamification is very often is used in physical education. But what about the aggressive behaviors? So I explain. In sports have their rules. And very often students are very aggressive. I remember when we were in Catania and you played at the soccer, there were a lot of aggressive behaviors between pupils, between the two teams. Yes. So do you suggest not use the rules of that typical sports and let the students invent other rules so they can be without the judgment of another the teacher that say this is good, this is not, so let them free to play and use other rules.
There's sports and guys. That's very complicated. That's very complicated. It goes beyond what gamification can do. It's probably cultural. Okay, soccer in particular can be a very aggressive sport. It can be. It's difficult to control because it goes to something that's very deeply ingrained in kids or teenagers, mainly male teenagers. That is competitiveness. It's a question of, it's a very competitive game, and they don't know how to handle that competition in a positive way because they don't know how to handle defeat. It's all about winning. So,
sorry. So about
what you suggested, making them own the rules. It's very interesting because they're engaged in the game in a different way. Like it's not an outside authority. It's a cooperative effort to decide the rules that are applied in that game. So you're changing competitiveness based out of outside authority to cooperativeness in creating the structure of the game and then enforcing it during the game. So they have to do them themselves.
And yes, but what about, sorry, but what about the assessment? I mean, it's not only a question of you won, you lost. I have to graduate different. So these were my question. What about the assessment? And what about the self-esteem when there are different levels of
well, that's assessment and
assessment is giving marks.
Okay, we usually use rubrics. Do you use rubrics for assessment? It's like a list of the things you're going to assess and the different levels of achievement. Like, say for example, if you're in a game, being aware of the status of your teammates, for example, can be assessed. When you're playing sports, I play sports for years, and one of the most important things is this team intelligence. You know where your teammates are and you know what to do. You make the best decisions. You might not be the fastest player or the player who scores more goals, but you are very aware of what you're doing. You make good decisions. So many of the kids don't make good decisions when they play because if they're good, they want to show off. Showing off in my assessment book would be a negative value. So if you don't play with your team, you get minus points instead of positive points. Because the key when you're playing sports, if it's a team sport, is to play in a team. So main value is teamwork. So you're assessing teamwork. And then you can assess individual performance, not based on how would they play, but on how well they try. You may not be very good at football or basketball, but you try. The teacher says, okay, this is what we're going to teach, what you have to learn in this class. So you need to pass the ball, say basketball. I played basketball for a few years. You're playing basketball, you need to do these three kind of passes. There's like over your head, like a straight pass, like a bouncing pass. That's what you have to do. You may do it well or not, but during the game, you have to try the three different passes. So you're assessed positively if you try that. If you pass the ball to your teammates, if you just get the ball and you play by yourself, even if you win the game, teamwork is very poor. So I would assess that very positively.
Is a part of the assessment. So
yeah, it's part of the assessment.
Of course, the other has.
So if they know it now, the key point here is if you're using that kind of rubric for assessment and they know it before they're being assessed, they know what to expect, they know what to do. So it's on them, it's their responsibility to do it because they know what they have to do and what you are expecting from them. And that makes it, it's very interesting because the shift on responsibility is tilted towards the students. They know what to do and it's their decision if they do it or not. So they can put the blame on you if they fail because they know what they had to do and they chose to do it or not. And in that sense, because you're not assessing how good they are playing the sport, but a different set of items of the things you've been teaching them in class, even if they're not very good players, they know what's being assessed and they can try their best to do it. It's fair to them, and as I said, it shifts the responsibility of doing it towards the student.